Hello, hello. It's your astrologer friend Kimberly here to talk to you about, to talk with you, not at you, to talk with you about the Jupiter in Leo transit that is coming up. We're going to look at dates when this has happened previously with a specific focus on the new moon in Leo. It's a little bit of a chaotic drawing that I've got here. I'm also going to do a sign by sign horoscope. We're going to go through all of the different zodiac signs. Hopefully, this is not going to have my head too far in the vision line of this drawing. Yes, I know it looks really busy. Let's get stuck into it. Here you have three variations of the same event. So the last two Jupiter in Leo cycles and the upcoming one, focusing on the new moon. So let's just go back to 2002. What were you doing? What were you doing in 2002? August 9th, 2002 to be exact. And we see here, right on the inner wheel, we've got a new moon at 16 degrees of Leo with Jupiter. I know it's difficult to see, but we've got Jupiter right there in the middle, making a conjunction to little asteroid Vesta there, and Mars was also co-present with that new moon, August 9th, 2002. Go back if you can into the memory banks and try to remember what was going on. I might have been dancing in the club to J-Lo. I was gonna have a look at all the different songs that were trending at this time. I haven't quite got there yet, but maybe I'll do a trends prediction for this time. The next one, we are leaping ahead 12 years because Jupiter has a 12-year cycle. 2014, July 27th. So we're still in the heat of summer for this new moon. It is right at the beginning of Leo season. Here you see Jupiter, Sun, and Moon all together, all conjunct at that very beginning point of Leo, the Leo zodiac sign. And then again, if we leap to present day or almost, August 13th, 2026 will be the next new moon in Leo, co-present with Jupiter, Mercury, and the South Node in Leo. And that's going to be a huge talking point that people are going to want to delineate and interpret and try and anticipate what the hell is going on with the South Node there too. So let's just back it up a second. Let's go through piece by piece, one by one, what the hell is this astrologer talking about? So new moons are new beginning moments, and in zodiac sign Leo, we've got the sun in its domicile signs. We've got the resplendent, potent sun in Leo season, accompanied by the moon signaling that fresh start energy. We've also got there in all three charts Jupiter. Jupiter is also known as Zeus in ancient myth and is this very, very, very huge planet, the biggest planet in our solar system. It is a giant, a gas giant, and you might know it as this orange planet. It's got those little moons of Jupiter. I think it's got four moons, has Jupiter, and it takes 1 year to transit the zodiac sign, and it is a marker, a harbinger, a, mythological planet denoting luck, higher education, wisdom, expansion, and growth. And so it is considered this kind of lucky star that takes 1 year to transit one zodiac sign. You might also know that the Chinese zodiac is based around Jupiter, in that every year we get a different zodiac animal. So, for example, right now we're in the year of the horse. We're in the year of the fire horse, but specifically the horse year as it stands relates to Jupiter in possibly Cancer or possibly Leo. There's a bit of a overlap in terms of dates as I have studied Chinese astrology as well. A little bit more difficult for me to get my head around, but you can consider that Jupiter is the planet of the Chinese zodiac. Okay, so we've got this new beginning that is amplified with generosity, that is supercharged by the biggest planet in the zodiac. And that's why I'm focusing in on these specific moments to try and hone in in your memory log, in your memory bank, to try and remember what was going on. And the reason I'm doing that is because, as you can see from each of these charts, Jupiter has only just made its entry into this sign. So it's kind of like this consolidated, potent, powerful boom of energy. So in the inner ring, it's only at 1 degree. In the center ring, it's at 2 degrees, and it's made its way to 9 degrees by August 13th, 2026. Jupiter will enter Leo at the end of June. Okay, so end of June, Jupiter will have wrapped up its transit of Cancer, where it's been for the last 12 months. And we're going to get this year-long transit. So, as you can see, we can reflect back on what happened in those previous years. What was going on for you in 2002 August? What was going on for you in 2014 summer, July, August, late July, August? And in that way, you might be able to anticipate what will come into view, not interview, what will come into your horizons, your view in at this time in August of 2026. What's going to be, coming up for you? And I'll go through zodiac sign by zodiac sign, but before I do that, just want to point out that there are remarkable and stark differences, a couple of similarities, but a lot of differences between these three time periods. So, for example, back in 2002, we had not much going on in Aries, but we still had Eris there because Eris is a very, very slow moving dwarf planet. We had Neptune in Aquarius. We had Uranus in Aquarius. So you can see in this inner ring, there was activity in Aquarius. We had Chiron in Capricorn. We had Pluto in fire sign Sagittarius with a exact trine between that new moon and Pluto. Pluto at 14, Sun and Moon at 16, and the South Node again at 16. We also had Saturn in Gemini in that 2002 chart, and Venus was in Libra. So I find that really nice that we can compare what was going on in 2002 with what is going to be happening in 2026, because we've got Venus pretty much at the same position. We've now got Uranus in Gemini. We've also got Pluto in Aquarius and the North Node in Aquarius too. So undeniably massive differences, but some similarities. And so if you're able to kind of walk it back and, you'd have to use a little bit of like astrological mathematics, a little bit of basic knowledge of astrology. But if you can say to yourself, well, at that time, Neptune was going through Aquarius, and for me, that meant X. And now Pluto's going through Aquarius, and for me, that means Y. You might get to Z, and so on and so forth. The middle ring is slightly different energy, okay? So in 2014, we had Uranus in Aries, so that was some pretty fiery energy. But Pluto was in a Capricorn and Neptune was in Pisces with Chiron. We also at that time had Venus and Mercury in Cancer as well. So try and take that into consideration when you're thinking about these three time periods. There could be similarities, there could be differences. Okay, so hopefully that's clear enough. I know the picture that I've drawn up there is a little bit hectic, but hopefully you can see. And another thing worth mentioning is that in 2014, we had the North Node in Libra. I would give my personal examples, but I think it's a little bit not redundant, but I think my personal examples aren't that clear unless you know me. Should I give my personal examples? Yeah, go on. I'm going to say that with each three of these moments, I was starting a new job. So back in 2002, I had taken a year out after college before I went to university, and I had my favorite job of all time, dealing with international people. I was working in a call center, phoning America. And the reason I point that out is because Pluto was in Pluto was in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is America is a Sagittarius country, and then we also had that new moon exactly trine the North Node in Gemini with Saturn there and Pluto there on the South Node. And needless to say, I was doing a lot of partying, hence the club reference. And so the new moon happening in my house of work, Pluto in my house of health, and the North Node and Saturn in my house of scandals and reckless behavior. So that was that one. Then in 2014, I was again starting a new job. I'd already been to astrology school, but I had very much just landed in Hong Kong, which is why I would touch on that North Node in Libra for me. It's in my house of home and settling down. So I just moved to Hong Kong and I had a new job. Now, that new moon was square my Mercury, and it was not a job that I enjoyed. I did not like that at all. In fact, it was a commission only role, and I made no money from it. So definitely interesting to think that that new moon was exactly square my Mercury, right? So it was not a good one at all. And then the upcoming new moon is at 20 degrees. My Venus is at 14. My Sun is at 29. So it's kind of in the middle there. Let's see what projects will come. Not sure they've got a new job in me, but maybe I will. And Venus in Libra. And I would say the 2002 experience, I was loving the place that I lived, and I love the place that I live right now. So yeah, for me, it's spot on. But let's talk about all the different zodiac signs. I'm going to go ahead and share the image for the new moon just to make it more current here for the current new moon in Leo. So for the Aries and Aries rising, and I will also add, I was having a lot of fun during all these summers as an Aries. I have fun in the summer sun when it's Leo season, always having some playful times. So for the Aries risings, this is going to be a boom, a boost, a boon, a kind of expansive energy on your sense of creativity, fun, romance, joy, pleasure, holidays, vacations, and meaningful plans. It can also denote pregnancy, although it didn't for me, but it can be fertility. It can be like a boost to one's creative potential, whether that means creating a baby, having a romantic affair and creating a baby, or creating love and laughter, or it can be creating something that is very artistic. And at that time, in 2014, I was actually being quite artistic as well, creating my website. Okay, so that's for the Aries, and I'm starting creative projects right now as well. So for Aries, love, fun, play, summer sun, enjoy. This is a boost to your ability to enjoy and indulge your own sense of meaning. So whatever you feel has meaning, indulge. For the Taurus and Taurus risings, this might resonate with your roots, home, family, and where you live. So the very property that you're based in, it's worth thinking back to those two examples. Where were you living? How is your relationship with family? And what were you going through that basically helped you to develop roots and to feel settled? Or what was going on emotionally deep within for the Taurus risings? Because that's the house of home and family and being settled. For the Gemini risings, this is the sector of sibling relationships, close connections, communications, and language. So were you taking a trip or kind of exploring Gemini risings? Were you venturing out to meet people who were a little bit, I don't want to say different to you, but people who spoke a different language, and therefore your communication skills had to be expanded on, had to be grown, because Jupiter is your relationship planet. And in this sector, it would be this kind of eagerness or perhaps a keenness to connect and communicate, to up level your skill sets, or to take lots of trips and explore. This is the house of learning, teaching, language, communications, sibling rapport, and news as well, and writing and projects that require a bit of a back and forth. So communications could be a major theme. For Cancer, Cancer risings, just like the example I told you before, getting a new job or building up your sense of purpose and the assets that you have. So when we get a new job, we are making money, but rather than just it being about that basic principle of getting a paycheck, this could also be about growing one's sense of self-esteem, growing in one's job, growing the skill set that one has, but also the assets. So, material assets can be money in the bank or items that one possesses, but assets can also be strings on our bow that are like accolades as well. For the Leo and Leo risings, well worth thinking back to those dates. What were you experiencing that allowed you to launch or have fun or kind of explode like a firework on the world, like unleashing yourself? Jupiter is your planet of pleasure and play, and therefore, with Jupiter in your sign, you could have been experiencing a romantic growth spurt. So, something may have been happening in that 2002 period that was inviting you to basically take a risk, take a chance, and to go big or go home. Virgo and Virgo risings. This is a really good opportunity for reflection because this is the 12th house of your horoscope. It's a sector of gestation and selfless work. So sometimes when we're existing in the 12th house, we feel like we're in a bit of a holding pen, we're waiting for something to happen, or conversely, we might be tasked with shutting something down. So if you had a project and then you were decided that you wanted to let go of it. So, say, for example, I just spoke to a Cancer rising yesterday, checking in, and she told me that her business had closed, or, parts of the business were basically being dismantled. And now there is a sense of closure, shutting up shop. The same thing happened to Donatella Versace, who's a Taurus rising, when she was having a strong Aries transit. So it's all about letting things go. So I'll let my brand go. I will let my business go. I will pass over the keys and accept that I'm retiring or temporarily on a break. And while I'm on a break, I can gestate. I can think of something new to do, or I can formulate my talents behind the scenes. For the Virgo risings, Jupiter is your planet of home and family. So it could be that you are taking care of people behind the scenes, that you are, having another baby, or you are tending to the babies that you've already got and doing something that is basically a bit of a thankless task. We describe planets in the 12th house as like tidying up and doing a bit of a thankless task that might not be recognized immediately, but it is connected to one's public image and impression. For the Libra and Libra risings, this is a boost to your sector of friendship, community, collective hopes and dreams, and visionary plans. So you could be really absorbed with society and the welfare of others, the group, a club, a network, or indeed your professional network and who you're affiliated with and associated with as well in a group. There could be a friendship thing going on. There could be plans among friends. You might all be going to a festival. You might all be going on holiday, and that might kind of be the hallmark signature that cements you in a group. Because I mean, it's summer. Imagine if you went on a day out or you had like a exciting, fun thing to do in August, and it really made you feel like part of society, gathering as an audience member, gathering at a festival is very much about the collective and what you're hoping for everyone. So you might also go to like a like a wellness festival or a music festival, and it really makes you think, yeah, this is the kind of music I like. Um, or you may feel like you're really giving a lot to a community as well, and really being a part of the community. For the Scorpio and Scorpio risings, you will be having a lot of attention and focus on your life path, your public image, your reputation, and how you come across in the public eye. So, this is your house of vocation, but also fame and notoriety. So, depending on whether it's a good or bad aspected transit for you. So, for example, I gave those two times where one, I had a really good job that I loved so much, and then the other one was a job that didn't even pay me a dime. That one that didn't pay me, I didn't get one penny out of that job because it was commission only. It was square my Mercury. And the other one, I just made such good friends. We had such a giggle in the other job. So depending on whether that Jupiter transit is treating you kindly or not, it could be that you have a recognition that's really positive, or recognition that is like, oh my God, I wish everyone didn't notice that, social blunder, potentially, something like that. Sagittarius and Sagittarius risings, this is a really lovely year for projects. So you could be traveling long distance to get involved with a big project. And so this new moon, boosted by Jupiter, boosted by Mercury, your relationship planet, is putting a lot of emphasis on that new beginning moment where you're getting stuck in. Jupiter is your planet. It is your ruling planet. It is your governing guide. And so this moment is all about really giving yourself over to an exciting new beginning. I already know one Sagittarius rising, who has a huge, huge project coming up. So I'm super excited for her and what that's going to bring. Also, this is your ninth house of projects, adventures, higher thought, higher education, philosophy, learning, theology, growth, wisdom. So the project that you're involved with could give you such a boost to your outlook on life, to your perspective, and to your life philosophy. So you could gain such a lot through projects. If nothing's on the horizon yet, be open to opportunities. Remember, this is a planet of luck, so something could swoop in. Maybe this is the time to manifest. For the Capricorns and Capricorn risings, Jupiter is your planet of closure, and this is your house of taboo topics, private agreements, contracts, mutual affairs, shared space. Now, over the last year, Jupiter has been exalted in Cancer, and that has really expanded your awareness of relationships. This takes that theme one step further. Now, I don't want to be a scaremonger and say, oh, you might experience a death or you might experience something that's confronting, but this is the sector of inheritance. And so you could be forced to address things like, where your inheritance is going, or a tax bill, or you could be confronted with a financial I don't want to say a financial investigation, but you could be looking a lot more closely at your private affairs. The thing to do is to look back at 2002 and 2014 and see what was going on then. Like, what were the topics, the issues that were touched upon that summer? I know it's difficult to look back, especially if we've blocked out some memories, but there may have been something going on which forced you to rely on other people, or to kind of be confronted with relationship situations that are a little bit more confronting than the norm. It's not just about going out for dinner dates, it's like what comes after the date, consummating with trust and a very, very sacred bond between you and a significant other. And it doesn't just have to be a spouse, it can be somebody that you work with as well. For the Aquarius risings, relationships. This is going to be a very big time for your union. So you might be meeting somebody new, or there could be a major emphasis on someone that you're already in a relationship with, or there could be a development in your relationship. For you, Sagittarius and Jupiter govern friendships. So there could be a social or quality to this transit for the Aquarius. There could be a flavor of bringing friends into your relationship, or kind of potentially leveraging some kind of club or meeting space or gathering opportunity, or even societal interests around your relationships. So I'm thinking of one Aquarius that I know who has already been talking to me about her partnership. And yeah, sort of bringing a friend in to kind of not mediate, but kind of help out. And Jupiter is a very generous, benevolent planet. And it's the planet for Aquarius of um, assistance and benevolence, sorry, benefactors. So having kind of somebody who's lucky and someone who's generous kind of swooping in to help or assist in relationships. So it's a really good time to get introduced to a new husband or wife or partner. Or also in a business sense as well for the Aquarius risings. And for the Pisces risings, this is your house of work, consistency, routines, and health. So think back to those previous two Jupiter transits, what was going on, what was being ushered in, remembering that these transits last 1 year. There could be a major emphasis on the physical body, or how you come across thanks to your job, your employment. It's basically a huge emphasis on the day-to-day running of things, also delegation, getting people to help and assist you, but is connected to your overarching image and impression because Jupiter is the planet of your professional life, your career, and fame. So it might be that you're working in a job and get an extra boost to your profile because you're taking things in a very consistent way. Show up, suit up, do the deal, Pisces rising. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of a hint at what might be coming for you with that Jupiter transit. I feel like I'm going to want to say a lot more on this, but that's where I'll leave it for now. That original little hint, looking specifically at those previous two exciting touch points and transits, that makes it interesting to reflect upon.